Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Friday edition of the Cabral Concept. We're here with our Friday review, episode 2373. Looking forward to chatting with you today about some great research topics that I thought you may want to check out. One on if you ever have to take antibiotics, how to dramatically improve the effectiveness, and how we also use it from a natural health-based perspective as well. A study on the prediction of autoimmune diseases, and actually an at-home lab that you can do yourself to see if this may be a potential cause. We have our herb of the week, one that I love to be always chatting about, and one that we actually, believe it or not, sometimes mix with our rice at night as well when we have that, for myself and for my daughters. We've got a product review, and this is an important one. It seems to be more and more important the more and more technology we begin to use in our homes and our environment. Then we've got our podcast recap. But before we get into all that, I always like to start with our updates for the week. Many of you enjoyed our time together in my Boston office. So essentially, just about a week ago or so, I was posting pretty much for the full day on Instagram on my stories. Hopefully, you were able to follow along. And I just kind of shared with you a little walk down memory lane. 22 years of working and living in Boston. And I'll tell you right now, it's one of the most amazing cities in the world. Obviously, a lot of history took place there, a lot of culture there, a lot of great universities. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city. And I loved raising my daughters there until they were, well, this year, basically 7 and 9 years old, 6 and 8 years old. And I also loved working there. I really did, because it made me get better. It honestly did. It challenged me in so many ways. It's a very competitive city. It's a very academic city. It's rooted in conventional medicine. Harvard, MIT, Boston University, Tufts University, Boston College. There's so many great schools. I'm sorry that I'm probably leaving some of those schools out, but also so much research is taking place there. And then you have 3 of the top 10 hospitals in the world in Boston. Mass General Hospital, Brigham and Women's Hospital, and Beth Israel Hospital. Those are always ranked within the top hospitals in the US every single year. So it's conventionally medicine-based. So when I then opened up the first functional medicine integrative health practice ever in Boston, you had so many people that were like, well, there is a lot of science behind this now. What is this all about? Some people didn't want to see it there, but many people were like, yeah, this should now be included. And it was great because I was challenged. I had to make sure I was always on my game in terms of what I was recommending and backing it by science. And it was, again, we helped a lot of people. I mean, over 250,000 people during those days. So I don't want to go too deep into it, but it is, as I say, the end of an era. So I have, I had 2 practices in Boston, and I essentially gave those practices to 2 of my colleagues when I went virtual, when I went online in late 2019, November 2019, early 2020, we'll just say, so a couple of years back. And I've just never looked back. I've never been a person to really look back and say, was this the right decision or not? And the reason is it doesn't do any good. I can learn from different experiences. And if it ended up being not the right decision, I always tell myself, listen, you could do it again if you needed to. If you wanted to, you know how, you've got the experience, you have the knowledge, just do it again. And so the thing was, and I'm going to be really honest with you, it was the best place to live for my wife and I. No doubt about it, because of work, our careers. Both of our careers were in Boston, and we loved it. Don't get me wrong. My wife loved what she did. I love what I do. But it wasn't the best decision for family. And so the truth is that it was an easy decision to make. because I've talked about this many times on my Mindset and Motivation Monday, and I'll probably talk about this again. I'm sure that I will. I'm sure I'll probably even talk about it maybe next week. But there was no decision at all. It was no longer the best place for my daughters to be and grow up. And so the decision was made. It was literally, it wasn't easy, but it was instant. This is not the best place to raise our 2 daughters any longer. It's not the right environment. It's not the right, like, they have to move out of the city anyways for schools. It just wasn't the right place. And so we moved on. And I'm going to be sharing more about that in the future. People are asking where we are. For right now, we're in Maine, but we are going to be moving. So we're going to be moving, although, again, like, my wife and I will retire to Maine one day. We love Maine, but that'll be many years in the future. My daughter's at home for at least another decade, and I'm not rushing them out of the house, that's for sure. So that's that. And so I'm just excited for the next chapter. I really am. It's unknown, so it's always scary. It's always different. It's always thinking, like, did we make the right decision? But in the end, it was, because it's the right decision for my daughters. And when you know your hierarchy, when you know your priorities, it's an easy decision to make. So I'm going to share more about that in the future. I just want to thank you all for your support, because I got so many direct messages just saying, thank you for sharing your personal life. I kind of showed my office. I showed me, packing up with the movers. I showed the view over Copley Square. I showed the view of where I used to live, just a 5-minute walk away. I showed where my daughter's school was, like all these great things. And it was just kind of a walk down memory lane, and it was very, very enjoyable. So again, thank you so much, as always, for your support. I appreciate you. I truly do. So this week, though, going on over at Equalife, which is the virtual functional medicine practice that we set up about 3-4 years ago. And many of you have been around since that time. We technically started bringing things online in 2017 because we had such a great demand from people all over the world, but we had to start from scratch. And so it was very slow for the first couple of years, just kind of sharing with people. And now it's grown into just a massive practice, helping hundreds of thousands of people, and on our way to helping millions of people. So I love that, and very grateful. And that's why I try to do so many giveaways, whenever I can. So we're giving away this week free blue blocker glasses. I just think everybody needs a pair. Like, that's the bottom line. Everybody needs a pair of blue blocking glasses. And I'm going to share with you why in just a moment, because we're going to be talking about that during the product review. But literally right now, if you head on over to stevencabral.com/shop, we're giving away 500 pairs. So with 500 qualifying orders, they will go out. And then when we run out, we run out. So that's that. So I'll be talking about these in just a moment. All right. So the next up is the podcast recap of the week. 5 things to quit for a happier life. Definitely check out that show, 2369. Our Mindset and Motivation Monday podcasts have now officially become the most popular shows of the week, which is amazing. So I'm always happy about that, of course, even though, all of my education, experience, all that, is in integrative health, functional medicine, naturopathy, Ayurveda, etc. But the truth is that a big part of my philosophy is mindset. I really have seen that the most in my career, that the only people that do relapse are the people who cannot let go of their previous illness, of their feeling a victim of this thing. And I have many, many shows on that. So love to see that. All right. On Tuesday's show was when never to fast. So definitely check this out. Definitely check out that show if you're into intermittent fasting as well, or doing functional medicine detoxes. Wednesday's show was how eating sugar messes with your mind and how to break the sugar addiction cycle. And yesterday's show was why we have body odor and how to get rid of it. Okay, so check those out at stevencabral.com/podcast. All right, now we're moving on to that product review before we get to our herb of the week. And that product review is none other than these blue blocking glasses. I've got lights on right now, so when you're looking at that, you'll see 2 big rings there, but I can't see them. You can see them on video, I can tell that. But we'll keep them on for a moment, but you'll just notice that there's little lights there. All right, so here's the thing. Do you need blue blocking glasses or not? I don't know. Let me just share with you some symptoms of people that could absolutely use them. People with dry eyes, people who get eye fatigue, people who feel like they can't unwind at night, people who are not able to fall asleep quickly at night. Or if you track your sleep biometrics, if you don't have good REM sleep, you don't have good deep sleep, that's an issue as well. And you'll definitely want to wear blue blocking glasses about 2 hours before bed or after 8 p.m. or when the sun sets, depending on the season of the year. If you have a family history of eye-based issues, such as cataracts, if you have lower mood, especially in the morning, if you have trouble waking up in the morning, if you feel groggy in the morning, again, these are all sleep cycle issues. If you have brain fog, I definitely recommend grabbing a pair. So when do I wear blue blocking glasses? Well, I wear them when I'm doing hours of research in front of my computer. If I plan on being on my computer for hours at a time, I will put on a pair of blue blocking glasses. And I do that to improve my overall visual-based performance. What does that mean? It means I can actually look at a screen and my eyes don't start to hurt. They don't get fatigue. I always, again, like I said, I wear them after 8 o'clock at night, especially if my wife and I happen to be sitting down and watching an hour of whatever TV show that we may be into at the time. By the way, a little aside, favorite TV show of all time was The Wire. My wife and I love that show. Wish we could find a show like that again. Some people like it, some people don't. I just think it's an amazing show. Anyway, it's been a year since I watched it, but we really enjoyed that one. And there were so many seasons that one, because we watched it like a decade after it came out. We're like, oh, this is great. We have like a month worth of shows to now watch. All right, alleviating eye fatigue. I don't get too much eye fatigue, but I have before. And so you've seen me before on the show with these on. And overall, just again, improving overall sleep. So the pair right here, because you can look for different types, the darker the yellow or orange glass, you can kind of see how mine look orange right there, right? The higher the blue blocking potential. The more yellow or lighter the color, the less they block blue light rays. So I'm doing a show on this, or I've already done it. Let's see here. Well, I don't know where it is, but I'll tell you this. Do not wear blue blocking glasses first thing in the morning. You actually want blue light in the morning. So I wear these afternoon if I'm at a computer, staring at a computer, and then I definitely wear them before bed. My daughters have a pair. If they're on an iPad, like we don't do long periods of time on an iPad, but let's say we're taking a flight to Australia like we have before. All right, so they've got their little blue blocking glasses, and I have mine as well. Anyway, these, by the way, you can get from any company you'd like. I always share with you the information, the truth, but they are worth it. They really are. And if you're using them during the day for a long period of time, you're going to get a lighter pair, like more like clear to yellow. These right here that I'm showing you block 94% of all blue light. So, and again, these are free this week if you're listening to the podcast when it comes out. So head on over to stephencabral.com/shop. They're free with all qualifying orders for the first 500. But again, you can purchase them wherever you choose. All right. Next up, we have our herb of the week. Our herb of the week is going to be bamboo. I know you're not eating bamboo. I get it. I can hear people saying it right now. But the bamboo shoots, right? It starts as a young grass. It actually grows very slowly in the beginning. Not a lot of people know this about bamboo. And then it just starts growing at I forget the stat. It's like 6 feet a year. Like it's amazing. It's a very sustainable plant as well. So I wanted to share this with you because we actually use it quite a bit. So we use it for all of our hair-based products. So anything to do with hair, skin, nails. And that's because it has something in it called silica. So silica, you could also look up like the benefits of silica. But what you'll find is, again, because silica comes from something. So we're getting ours from natural bamboo. Now, the interesting thing is this. So, okay, does it help with hair, skin, and nails? Yeah, absolutely. Like that's 100%. 100%. But it's also super high in antioxidants. So there's this Lotus brand rice, and it's basically like a white rice mixed with bamboo. Chlorophyll is kind of what they call it, right? So like green pigment, chlorophyll. Super high in antioxidants. And we eat colorful rice. So we eat green rice, or we eat the ancient it's called forbidden black rice. That's a great one we sometimes have. We have volcanic rice sometimes. But this is one of the ones that we have. It's actually good for your heart. It's good for cholesterol levels. Again, I have to provide my disclaimer. I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical diagnosis, medical cures. But Healthy for the gut. It can act as a prebiotic, may help with weight loss and actual overall healthy glucose levels, and so much more. So again, powerful antioxidant, great for the hair, skin, and nails, good for the heart, good for overall, basically staying at a healthy body weight, staying lean, staying at a healthy body weight. So I wanted to bring that for you this week. You can get it as a mixture with something. You can get it as an extract as silica, or you can get it inside of a nutritional supplement like our hair support product that you're getting the refined, or I shouldn't say refined, but the extract of the bamboo and silica as well. So really, really great dish. You'll also find it as a in some like Asian-based dishes as well, which I love, and they have the bamboo shoots. And so then that actually acts, as I was saying before, more as a prebiotic, and it helps feed healthy and good bacteria in the gut. So really, really nice product, and super high in antioxidants as well, and you can't beat that. All right, now moving on to our research for the week. And again, this is going to be one of those, like on yesterday's show about body odor. I'm going to translate the medical speak and put this in human terms, but I want to share with you because it is actually the science. It's called the prediction of autoimmune diseases. Now, again, on a podcast, I can't share with you any diagnosis or prediction of autoimmune diseases, but let me share with you exactly what the studies in science show. So autoimmune diseases are chronic disorders characterized by the loss of self-tolerance, and although being heterogeneous, they share common pathogenic mechanisms. Self-antigens and inflammation markers are established diagnostic tools. However, the metabolic imbalances that underlie autoimmune disorders are poorly described. The study aimed to employ metabolomics for the detection of disease-related changes in autoimmune disease that could have predictive value. Quantitative analysis of 28 urine organic acids was performed using mass spectrometry in a group of 392 participants. Autoimmune thyroiditis, irritable bowel disease, psoriasis, and rheumatoid arthritis were the most prevalent autoimmune diseases of the study. Statistically significant differences were observed in the triboxylate cycle metabolites, succinate, methyl citrate, and malate, the proglutamate and 2-hydroxybutyrate, and the glutamine or glutathione cycle in the metabolites of methyl malinate, 4-hydroxyphenylpyruvate, 2-hydroxyglutarate, and 2-hydroxyisobutyrate between the autoimmune disease groups and the control. All right, so what does that mean in like normal speak? Our IHP level 2s will know this. It will sound familiar. If you're a naturopathic doctor, or you're someone that's gone through functional medicine organic acids test training, this may sound familiar, because what they're talking about is essentially the organic acids test. We call ours the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. And although we don't use it for medical diagnostic purposes, because that's not allowed, what we do is we actually share with people, listen, the underlying root cause of 90% of all autoimmune diseases is gut-based. I can't say that enough. I've said it on so many podcasts, but I don't want to just repeat it so much. People are like, all right, we get it. But again, there's always new people listening to the show. 90% of all autoimmune diseases begin in the gut. I had an autoimmune disease. I don't have one anymore. Why? I changed my gut. I had Candida overgrowth. I had H. pylori, and I had bacterial overgrowth, right? SIBO. So what does that mean? Well, it means my gut was a mess, and so my body was inflamed, and so my immune system was imbalanced. Now, did that attack self? Yes. I had rheumatoid arthritis, right? So yes, on all of it. But the problem is there's always a root cause. And in conventional medicine, they want to medicate you and mask these symptoms, but it never gets rid of the root cause. So I fixed my stress. I fixed a whole lot of things in my body, heavy metals, but I also fixed the Candida, the H. pylori, and the bacterial overgrowth. If you want to learn how to rebalance your digestive system, I have a whole host of free podcasts on it at stephencabral.com/podcast. Literally just scroll through the image at the top and you'll find it. But the other thing I want to share with you is I have a whole course. The course literally breaks down everything you need to know and everything you need to do, literally. That's at stephencabral.com/courses. That's if you want the accelerated version of essentially how to get well. So that's that. I just wanted to share with you because, again, we've known this in natural health for decades, right? Decades. It's nice to see conventional medicine eventually catching up. The problem is they make fun of all of this. They don't make fun of it. They call it, what's the word that they call it? Quackery. They call it quackery until eventually they believe, right? So I quoted so many different Harvard-based research studies now talking about leaky gut is a real thing. What else? Fibromyalgia is a real thing. They didn't believe in any of these things. They literally didn't believe in chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, leaky gut. They didn't believe in any of these things when I was a teenager and sick. None of them, right? None. But now they do. And there's published work on all of them. So here's the thing. Whatever people decide to call quackery is, for the most part, it's ignorance in the beginning, right? It's ignorance. But it takes a couple more decades for conventional medicine to be like, oh, yeah, they might have something here. We should probably look into this. Anyway, I mean, I don't mind. It doesn't hurt my feelings. The reason I'm not thrilled about is that so many people are being given not even half the information. They're given like a little nibble, a little crumb of information, and then they're told, well, it's just your genetics, right? Your parents had that, so yeah, of course you have it. And there's nothing you can do when we know that that's not the truth. All right. So that's that. You can check out the free podcast on your gut. You can check on digestion podcast. You can check out the digestive course. You can run, if you want to run this lab, you can actually run it at, it's called the Candida Metabolic and Vitamins Test. And all those labs are at stephencabral.com/labs. But of course, you can also run it with your local practitioner as well. All right. And an integrative health practitioner level 2 will also be able to help you with that. All right. The last one is a research study on antibiotics. Why, if you're into natural health, you're talking about antibiotics, people might ask. Well, here's the thing. I believe in all forms of medicine, right? I believe in conventional medicine for acute-based diseases or accidents or trauma, something happened. I don't believe in it for chronic-based issues. Okay. But here's the thing. Alternating antibiotics help combat resistance. In lab tests, rapidly alternating between 3 antibiotics killed resistance bacteria 5 times more effectively than using a single antibiotic. If further testing shows the same approach works in humans, it could be a more effective way to treat drug-resistant bacterial infections. And by the way, it will. Like, that's the thing. It will. We've already known this. It's like, this is not new. But it's good that we're seeing this confirmed. I'll link up the research study. The study was done at the University of Kiel. I apologize if that's Kiel. I think that's pronounced Kiel in Germany. And it was published in New Scientist journal, or magazine. So I'm going to share that with you. But here's the thing. This has already been known because when I was, 14, 15 years old, I was put on antibiotics. I've swallowed over 3,000 capsules of antibiotics, of amoxicillin specifically, before my 18th birthday. You wonder why I had gut issues, right? You wonder why I had immune issues. So here's the thing. Your body can become resistant to a specific antibiotic, and then it allows superbugs, if you've never heard of superbugs before, you can look that up, to develop. And that's not a good thing, because then when you need to take antibiotics for something real serious, like a bacterial infection that could be life, causing you to lose your life, that would not be a good thing, because then they wouldn't work, right? So, but we know this regardless of whatever the infection may be, because we also use it in natural health. So one of the reasons why so many practitioners, and we, of course, use the CBO protocol for the gut, the Candida Bacterial Optimizer protocol for the gut, and the reason why it works so well is we actually alternate natural antibiotics. And again, I'm not providing any medical advice or medical cures or medical treatment plans, but they're antibiotics from nature, right? They kill bacteria, they kill yeast, they kill fungus. What we do is we actually rotate them each month. One for 4 weeks, one antimicrobial formula, another for 4 weeks, and then the final one. And that's one of the reasons why it works so well. This obviously didn't happen overnight. It took me a decade to continue to refine this program. But again, it works amazingly well for overall health in the digestive system. You can find details on that at stephencabral.com/CBO. But I'm going to link up all the science for you here today. So hopefully this show is helpful. I'll be back tomorrow answering your questions on our weekend Cabral House Calls. Have an amazing weekend. I'll talk with you soon. Before you go, I wanted to share a personal story with you. The real reason I began to get well finally is because I figured out what was wrong with me. And that might seem pretty obvious, but I went from doctor to doctor for over 2 years before discovering at-home functional medicine lab testing. These are the labs that enabled me to finally figure out what was wrong with my hormones, blood sugar, electrolytes, and gut health. And once I knew what was wrong, I could then follow a proven plan in order to rebalance my body from the inside out. This is why I believe so strongly in functional medicine lab testing and why I've made it my mission to share these labs with the world. Now at equa.life, you can order an at-home lab test or a lab bundle for you and your family and be able to complete it within the week. Plus, the EquaLife difference is that you're not left to try to read and figure out these labs on your own. We explain what your lab numbers mean, what they mean in the much bigger picture, and then how to go about rebalancing your body in order to heal. To see our full selection of lab tests or to set up a free lab selection call to find out what labs may be best for you, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. And do remember, we ship these all over the world. To find out more and to set up your free lab selection call, simply head on over to equa.life/labs. That's EQUI.LIFE/labs.